Carolina is the General Manager of Telefónica Learning Services since 2001. Telefónica Learning Services is a company of the Telefónica Group, the Spanish multinational telecommunication services provider. And the mission of Telefónica Learning Services is providing training solutions to companies and citizens with a special attention to the digital divide problem. During the 9 years Carolina has been working for Telefónica, she has lived firsthand the evolution of mobile technologies and its application to education and learning. And she has been responsible for many initiatives in this field. So she knows very well what the main trends have been during this period, how these trends have fitted with the market demands, and also till what extent they are nowadays being adopted by different target user groups. Taking all this into account, I think her contribution can provide us a new and interesting perspective about the topic. The title of her presentation is Analysis of the Mobile Learning Practices in Telefónica regarding its different stakeholders, employees and families, customers and society. So please, Carolina.
Hi, everybody. How are you? So first, when actually Marianne called me and Emma called me to talk about mobile learning, I got a little bit nervous because at this point, mobile learning, it's not very clear in my mind exactly what is the proper definition of mobile learning, to tell you the truth. 6 years ago, it was quite clear. You had a cell phone, and that's what you actually considered as mobile learning. Right now, with the evolution of the technologies and of the devices, almost anything could be called mobile learning, like receiving an SMS from your English teacher just with the 3 specific words they want you to learn today, access to an iPod and having the conference of a pre-reading before going to a specific training, presential training solution, having a mobile content over an iPhone, or having your netbook in a Wi-Fi environment. So right now, it's such a wide concept. It makes me a little bit nervous as far as your expectations of what exactly we're going to talk about. The idea here is to tell you a little bit what Telefónica as a group, which is about 2,000 and 50,000 people all over in 25 countries, actually has been doing since 2001 in the different technologies and opportunities they were in the moment with the different stakeholders, as we were saying before. So first of all, why do we believe that mobile learning is important for Telefónica? Before the idea, why did actually they decide to create a company actually to take care of this and to be involved in this as a business? Because there are different areas in the company, people that are in R&D that are seeing how the technology is going to evolve, etc. People that are worried about the society, how they can actually provide new solutions for different stakeholders also. But why did it make sense really to have mobile learning in the company? So internally, clearly, they see it as a tool to implement their different strategies. They want to change the culture of the company, and they believe that having mobile solutions, well, it's the only way of actually getting to the 250,000 employees that are all over the countries in different languages with different access to technologies. And we have to go very quickly. What we're seeing, what's happening in Silicon Valley is all these companies are evolving so quickly. And what the market is telling us is that the operators, we have to move very quickly also if we want to maintain the speed. So there, a tool such as mobile learning or ubiquitous learning or handheld learning, whatever you want, is really something that is needed right now for large companies. So in that sense, they decided that internally they wanted to have a very strong tool to actually implement these strategies. It's efficient, it's scalable, that I'm not going to worry you with all these words that everybody know about, but it's also very useful for the compliance. Apart from the training that you want your employees to go through, there's some things that you need to have for compliance reasons, legal reasons, and that's the only way of actually getting all this training in a very quick way and very mandatory way, etc. So right now, everything that has to do with compliance over the different, like health and safety, business principles, that type of training is something that is being done over mobile learning at this point. And clearly, one of the strategic points of Telefónica is to become an online company. And what better way of becoming an online company than actually using technology to actually train the employees and communicate to the employees. So it was clear that it made sense from an internal point of view. In the external point of view, it also did make sense because Telefónica doesn't want to become a dumb pipeline, only providing broadband to its clients. They want to really go into the next layer of services, of applications, and they believe that there are opportunities there in the e-learning and mobile learning environment. Even though we know that it's going to be an environment where there are going to be hundreds of thousands of players. So we can be one of the players. But trying to have the main position there is very difficult because anyone right now from its house can actually develop a small mobile learning application that is the best of breed, put it into the iTunes environment and have it downloaded by 250,000 people. That's something that Telefónica can't play against. So we have to go and play together with them, actually. So there they think it makes sense having really businesses looking around mobile learning. And we want to be a partner for the public administration, for the educational departments, and for the governments in the transformation of the civil servants, of what really they're doing, how the e-administration is going to change the society. We want to be partners there. And for that, we also have to train the people in actually changing and starting to use the technology. So what we're seeing is that when we go and implement large ICT solutions for example, how do you call it? El servicio de, well, anyway, one of the big administration environment, you launch all la ciudad de la justicia. Sorry, I was looking for the word. Well, you have to train afterwards all the judges and all the people that actually are using all these technologies. And e-learning and mobile learning is a very easy and flexible way of doing it. So right now, there are enormous projects being done where they're training 5,000 people, 2,000 people in the use of technology. So they really want to be a partner there in transforming the society. Because right now the kids, we don't need to train them, they're training us. But there's a whole lot of rest of people from 40 over, or depending, that actually are a bit worried, need to see that it's easy, that makes sense for them, and they're making it easy using the methodology that better adapts to their needs is a way that they will actually get into the story and really transform themselves, okay? So basically, the idea here is to say that it made sense for Telefónica. But when we're talking about mobile learning in Telefónica, we're talking about a whole lot of different projects for a whole lot of different people. So it's difficult to have a global view of exactly what is being done. So in one sense, mobile learning is being done for the employees of Telefónica, as I was telling you, 250 employees over the world in many different languages. Right now we have people that are in Czech Republic, we have Brazil, so we have to really find a solution that is multilingual and available for all of them, in which we want to transfer a unique culture, because growing at the speed that we've been growing, if you're not able to really find a mean of actually getting to all these people in different languages, you have a problem at this point, because you can actually lose control. So the employees is one of our focus. The other one is the value chain, because actually Telefónica, apart from the 250 people, have all the subcontractors, all the sales channels that are not people from Telefónica, but we have to share a lot with them. We depend on each other. And there's a lot of training that needs to be done in order to really provide the quality of service that we want to give to our different clients. And there we have realized that mobile learning is an incredible tool to actually implement that. Because if you're putting new products in the stores every week, how can you update the sales force in the products, comparing them to Vodafone or whatever? So really we are seeing that mobile learning is a tool that makes sense, basically. The clients, of course, I mean, we're concentrated on the clients. And when we're talking of clients, we're talking of end users, of families, we're talking of SOHOs, SMEs, and large corporations and governments. So we really have to give different solutions for each of them. I mean, you talk to a family, what they want from mobile learning, and it has nothing to do from what a large corporation such as Alcatel is expecting in a solution around mobile learning, no? And then the society, here we have quite a few representatives of Fundación Telefónica. They have the prettiest part of the story, because they're doing really gorgeous projects for the society that really make sense for the society. And then, well, we have somebody that will come and Claudia that will come and present a specific project. But they're doing really the best looking part of the project, basically. And R&D, which are the ones that are in the state of the art, and then moving on to the next step. So basically, these are all the different agents that we have in the company. And if it's okay with you, the idea is to give you a quick overview of the different projects that have been done in each cases and the good and bad parts that we have been suffering since 2001 in each of these projects. Okay, employees. So since 2002, we have a common platform. In 2001, everybody was starting to talk about e-learning, mobile learning. It was going to be the next killer application. And like there were, Telefónica has a lot of companies, and everybody was starting in their HR department, starting to do their small little projects around e-learning. And they decided here from the corporation that no, we wanted to use it as a common tool, so we needed a common platform. So the idea was to provide with this unique platform, but giving the independence to the HR departments to be able to implement it then the way they wanted, because it's clear that you have to adapt it to the specific needs of the employees you have in each country. And there you have trainers that can use the methodology they want in order to really create a challenging experience for the employees when they actually get training, no? So there, the idea is to really unify what can be unified, find the synergies where you can have synergies, but give the individuality of each of the countries when they need specific things for them. So as figures, more or less, we have about 1,500,000 hours of online training per year. That is online, includes mobile, it includes live learning, it includes a little bit everything, and it's over a unique platform. So over this A+ platform, what you can is access through your mobile if you want, for specific content that has been developed for mobile, but you can also access through the internet, basically. There is a common catalog in the different languages with the main areas that make sense also for Telefónica. Business skills, languages. Language is very important now that we have presence in Europe. Well, it's clear that in Spain and Latin America, they're very worried and interested in learning English, learning Brazilian also so language is something that is important. Office wear is always important just to have the updates, etc. Technology, all that has to do with telecom technology, and it doesn't make sense to develop this course in different countries. You do it once and you have it translated for everybody. So we really believe in the synergy model, because reaching 250,000 people makes a difference. It really, there you can find really cost reductions when you're talking of great figures such as that. And also products and services, as I was telling you. There's a whole lot of content that needs to be provided to everybody. And it's clear that you can't develop everything the same way, because you can have, for example, a business simulator. We try to imitate The Sims, but it doesn't get to The Sims, I promise. But I wish I could, but I'm not able to implement such a thing. But the idea is replicating a business situation for people to actually play with different variables and to implement a business around telecommunication. That's something very sophisticated and quite long to implement. But there's also other solutions which are rapid mobile learning solutions, very quick, very easy, because the content is going to be will need to be updated every 2 weeks. So it doesn't make sense spending money in that type of projects. Something that, as a business, we have to take much account about is, at this point, I believe right now, the technology is available. I mean, there's incredible stuff out there. But who is really willing to pay for it regarding afterwards the return they're going to have it? So there we also always have to do the fitting of exactly, okay, we're going to do an incredible course of Welcome to Telefónica. But Telefónica, the figures are changing constantly. So here you have to have the beautiful part, the one that you think is going to have a little bit more duration, and the other type of content that needs to be updated maybe every 3 months. So really be very down to earth at the moment of actually implemented solutions, because the money is not infinite, as you know all, and as a business you really have to be. They're constantly shortening the budgets in every way. So, and something we have been trying to defend as a mobile learning company is, don't believe that training as the complete concept of training is going to be much cheaper if you do it online. No, if you want a whole lot of quality, you're going to need people behind. You're going to need trainers, even if they're online. You're going to need service. So one thing is developing a content and giving it to 250,000 people, which makes lots of sense, and it makes it very cheap. Another thing is developing an online MBA in which you're going to have teachers, trainers, people that actually motivate the students online, that do the live learning sessions. At the end of the day, that implies people. So that will have also a specific cost. So we believe more in the quality that mobile learning can provide more than in the incredible cost reduction that it's going to implement. So you have to try to take care of these 2 points, basically. So as far as mobile as such, there are a whole lot of methodologies that are available. Well, sending emails from the, SMSs from the teacher to motivate the students, specific short content that is available on the mobile. Actually, here we have one of the person that was one of the launchers of mobile learning in the initial concept of mobile learning in 2004 that came from Telefónica Móviles Spain, which were really pushers of mobility. And they were saying, okay, each course that an employee is going to do, I want one part of the module to be online through a mobile. And the type of contents that were done were really beautiful. I mean, they were sophisticated, they were down to the earth, like the specific points you needed. It was quizzes, something really interactive and very, very interesting. And in the training process in which you went, you had some part presentials, some part over the mobile, so some parts over the computer, etc. What was the difficulty that they found at that period, about 2005, is that it was impossible to have the different mobile content available for all the devices that the employees were having. It was incredibly costly. I mean, you were talking of developing the course for, I don't know, maybe 15 times through different technologies, because the mobiles there was no way of actually having a common technology, and that was an incredible problem. So, so at the end, it was a very beautiful experience, and actually they went to present it to Europe and they had prizes, etc. But as far as capacity of reaching everybody, it was so costly that we had to wait a little bit more until the technology actually got more together, and they're like more compliant one with another, to make it easier for people to actually access through mobile. And what is the trend right now for the employees is to move from the learning management system that we had, which was straightforward, to the personal learning environment. In the educational world, from I think most of you come from, something that everybody's talking already about, really having the experience of the learner in a personal learning environment, etc. In the enterprise world, it's taking a little bit more time, because the HR areas are a bit worried about saying, okay, what is the training I want to give to my employees, and what is the training or the learning they want to get through their blogs, through Flickr, through whatever. So how can I control their learning environment? And what we are realizing is that it's impossible. So let's make it easier for them, and let's try to challenge them with making an intelligent use of it, basically, and things that really make sense for the company also. But that's a bit the duality that we're living in the companies, because I want them to learn about the technology of mobile, or I want them to learn about how to sell better a product, but I don't want them to learn about how to do their gardening, basically. So am I prepared as a company to actually give them, open the field of learning in this personal learning environment, in which they'll have their generic training, the one that I want for the company, but also access to more things? Well, what we're realizing is that we don't have any choice, so we better do it easy for them, basically, and motivate them, in order to really, for them to be so happy with their work and so motivated with them that they'll, even if they do a quarter of an hour about gardening, doesn't matter, because they'll be so excited about their project, they'll find other moments to actually really work on their project. And that's the way we have to move on. But I believe in the educational world, you're a bit in front of us in that environment, because the students don't give you any choice anyway. So it's the way it goes. The other environment in which we also do training is Universitas, the corporate university of Telefónica. And there it goes to the managers. And training managers with mobile learning is not easy. I promise you, it's not easy to take them to a beautiful place that actually is here in Barcelona. And it's a campus and a gorgeous place. And it's already hard enough to take them there. If you want to have them do mobile learning on top of that, be prepared, because, I mean, they're very busy people. So basically, what we've been trying to find is really methodologies that really fit in the fact that they have very little time and they want something very adequate to their needs. So for example, having the lecture or having the pre-reading put into an MP3 for them to listen when they're in the taxi, going from the airport to the campus, that they find very useful because they go to the session, they already have their homework done, and it was much more interesting to hear of the case over hearing it instead of reading it in the airport, basically. So where are the methodologies? How can you adapt the methodologies to the needs of the different type of profiles that you actually have? Next areas. We're also, as I was telling you, we need to provide solutions for our providers, for our subcontractors, for our sales channels. And there we believe that the advantage of having a common vision is there are a whole lot of synergies that can be given. Once you've developed the courseware once, you can put it to everybody in a very, very cheap model. So for example, Estela, which is the Escuela Técnica of Latin America, actually reuses all the content that has been implemented inside of Telefónica for all these people that are, at this point, 30,000, basically. And the idea is also to move it afterwards to their families, because the experience that we have, that is that Latin America, they really appreciate learning. Giving them the opportunity and the tools of training is something that motivates them a lot. So once the content is available and the platform is there, why can you actually give it to the most people possible? So there, the idea is to really increment and spread in the possibility of giving content training on all these areas of skills, of marketing, of languages, of officeware, of ICT, to all these people all over the world, basically. And all that over a common platform that is simply personalized for the different people that you need to access to. And these are 3 different cases. eCampus is also for the external personnel of Telefónica, and the indirect channel of Telefónica of Spain that also provides all the training that is done from the stores of Movistar in products and services is done online at this point. So they can do it over their iPad, they can do it the way they want. I mean, they don't have presential training at all in products and services. Where they do get the presential sessions is in sales skills, because of course, I mean, in some specific things you need to have the being near from the others, sharing experiences, etc. But learning the functionalities of a new telephone, I mean, it doesn't make sense having that in a presential session, basically. So there, it's really moving lots of the company online in this case. What we're doing in the educational segment. Here, the first case is a case that is being implemented by the Fundación Telefónica, actually, which is helping the teachers in moving to using the ICT in a pedagogical way in order for them to provide a classroom using the opportunities and the tools that are already available over the net. And that is something that has been a very nice experience in the sense that what we've seen is that the teachers, at the end of the session, they share during all the process. It's really something that is based on collaboration, in explaining their experiences, bringing in all the things that they're learning to do. And at the end, they really recommend it to other teachers. So the feeling that we have when we go to school is that the kids are there, they want that type of thing. How can we help the teachers that in most cases they would like to do it, but they don't know where to start with? So giving them the tools and telling them, here's where you have to look for it, because there are a whole lot of things already available. I mean, Red.es, which is a program of the government, has spent millions of euros in implementing content for the teachers to use in the classroom, math, literacy, or whatever. And the thing is, do we know where they are? Some do. And probably the people who are here, everybody knows them because you're in the state of the art. There are a whole lot of people out there that are a bit afraid. So taking them slowly, step by step, and showing them that they can make a class very challenging, using technology, and it's more of an opportunity than any type of threat. I think it's a gorgeous project, really. And the idea here is also to help the government go further. And when you see everybody, all the government talking about Escuela 2.0 in Argentina, they're doing a whole lot of things also. They've bought in, I don't know in which province, about 30,000 computers, connected computers for kids. So what we have to be able to do is when the teacher gets into the class, instead of saying, close your computers, say, open your computers, friends. We're going to do something nice. And we have to help the teachers there, I think. So lots of initiatives are being done, but this one I think is one that actually is being enjoyed by the teachers, and we hope it will be replicated. The Universidad of Alcalá actually asked us to develop a content to teach foreigners, kids, and teenagers in learning Spanish. So there was the first part, which was e-learning. So it was 250 hours of multimedia content over the net. But the second part was specific modules for the mobile. And they took part of that content and included exercises, quizzes, short stories. Over the mobile, it was about 60 hours of multimedia content done for the mobile. And the idea is to provide this to all the schools where they have kids that come from outside and need to learn Spanish in a fun way. So it's really oriented, and if you see the design, it goes from kids from 3 to 6, so it's very like kid looking. And the teenage, it's much more like another type of atmosphere to make them feel involved. So it's not the typical course of Oxford that maybe could impress them. No, it's really oriented to what a kid could be motivated with. And another example in the education field, a Spanish university, a private university, I'm not allowed to give the name, but actually is launching this year already 7 new careers online. They give the opportunity to the kids to actually train in the campus or have the credit online if they want. It's completely online. And it's possible to do it over the mobile also. The platform that is used is Moodle. And you have the possibility, all the content has been implemented in a way that you can access through your mobile if you want, or through the computer. I mean, you can get a little bit, how do you say, fiero, but I mean, it's available. And I believe that they've made an enormous, it's an American company actually, the one that is behind the university, that they've made an incredible effort in really developing content, teaching the teachers. There was lots of work done in helping the teachers in creating methodology that was challenging for the kids. It was not replicating their PowerPoint online, not at all. It really had to change all the methodology from the start. And it's being launched right now. So we'll have the feedback of the experience in the following months. And other examples I don't want to bore you with, but Correos, for example. I'm very proud of the case of Correos because 4 years ago, Correos is the postman company of Spain. They were doing 0 in mobile learning. All the training that was being achieved was presential. And in 4 years, they've passed to 50% of the training achieved by the 60,000 postmen and postwomen in Spain are doing it online. So it's been an incredible cultural change for people that initially weren't near of technologies at all, basically. And the success comes from the team of HR, that found first a methodology and then a way of actually having people use it, giving them the advantage, for example, giving them ADSL at home or whatever, different type of models to actually motivate the people to use it. And right now it's become a reality. So, and we lived it in a funny experience because we received actually phone calls in the call center for students at 12 o'clock at night, people that were in cyber coffees asking, how do I actually do this, etc. So they were starting and using a computer for the first time in their life. So that type of project, when you see that 60,000 people have moved on from 0 internet literacy onto doing their training online, is something that we feel proud of, because I mean, it's right now actually they need a PDA. I don't know if you see the postman, actually they're using a PDA for when they actually go and put a letter into somebody's home or whatever. And what we're doing is develop content as everybody has this tool, because the problem most of the times is that the devices, what devices do people have? In this case, all the postmen have the same device, so it makes it easy to develop content specifically for them over their mobile regarding different areas that they need to be trained upon. Another case is the taxi association. Everybody has also that smartphone with a GPS. So they needed a course on health and safety. Well, the course was implemented for them because they could use the times when they were actually waiting in their taxi to actually do the training, which was mandatory for them to actually be able to have their driver's license. And then other things that we've done that look beautiful, but there's no business model behind, because For the 3G World Congress here in Barcelona, we implemented like multimedia courseware in business skills in different technologies. You had it over the iPhone, you had it on a smartphone, you had it over a netpad, you have it, all different type of things. And you could see how you can actually access in a completely transparent way to one or the other to a unique platform. So it was beautiful. It was exciting. The problem is the cost of implementing that is so great that there's no company or no government that is going to be prepared to actually pay for that, I can assure you. So one of the messages I wanted to transmit is technology is there already. The capacity of doing things is there. The thing is, how can we find things that are really useful for people and at the end of the day has a cost that is really, that makes sense for doing such a type of thing. And another project that is being launched this week is for the SMEs. In Spain, Telefónica has more than 2 million SMEs and SOHOs, basically, autónomos, etc. And what they've decided is to try to provide online training to all these people, because normally these people don't have time to go to specific courses and lose time out of their work to actually be trained and be updated with all different type of things that are important for them, accounting, the legal aspects, there are lots of things that are evolving constantly that a small company should need, but that hasn't got the opportunity of actually sending their people. So the model that they have implemented is giving a whole lot of courses. We're talking about, I think it was about 600 courses on different areas, also ICT, languages, etc., to all these people for a flat fee, very cheap. For 12 euros, you and your company can use these courses, can be trained and have access, and you can do it from your office, your home, or wherever you want, and it's very easy. The idea is to make it easy and really try to motivate them and have them know that they have something accessible. And that is being achieved by the area of SME of Telefónica. In the end user market, there are two projects that have been implemented. One is Aula 365. I don't know if you've seen it in television. Here the idea is to create let's say a social network around education for kids. In no case it tries to be a challenge for the schools at all. It's more an environment of edutainment, and where the kids can enjoy themselves, can share, can have like all the advantages of sharing with other kids, but around things that have to do with the education, with the school, they have multimedia curriculum available for them to remember how to do a multiplication or how to do something specific of language or whatever. So there are a whole lot of multimedia content available, but in a fun way. It's all like with people that represent different expertise, while you have the kid that goes growing, and he's the guru in maths. So he's the one you actually go and ask to when you have some type of challenge, etc. And you have behind a whole set of teachers that are providing online help. It's been launched for 1 month, and the truth is that I have a whole lot of teachers answering a whole lot of questions. So it's really starting to move, and the idea is to really use the concept of learning 2.0 in this case, and really have the parents feel comfortable that their kids, they're over the computer, but they're not in 20, or they're not in other things we don't know about. They're in an environment that is controlled, that has content that is interesting for them, about culture, about their school, and that makes sense. And we also have the mobile store where anybody that implements an application for mobile can actually put it on the store and have it sold to any type of person. The equivalent of the store of Apple Store, but it's not concentrated only on that technology. You can have it for any type of mobile technology, and you download it, and it's a revenue sharing for the application providers. So here also we're trying to open the world to the capacities of all the different areas and all the different people that are doing things, because there are hundreds of thousands of people doing things at this moment. So how can they actually get access to the whole lot of clients and users that can access to the portal of Telefónica, basically. And there's a whole lot of educational content already in languages, edutainment, etc. for kids, and in the different devices. What they are worried about is really giving it to all the different devices available by Telefónica. And the last project of what R&D is doing, actually here you have the expert, the one that is implemented this project, which is Vanessa. She's there. So I'm not sure I'm going to explain it very well, but the idea here is something that really is state of the art. And the idea here is to create a service that helps teachers to create content, learning content in a fun way. So it integrates quizzes, interactive lessons with the games, and really is something that that will make it easier. But instead of going to the very sophisticated mobiles, the idea here is to go to the low end of the mobile, because not everybody, not every kid is having the incredible iPhone. So they're really going to something that could be used by countries or type of profiles that don't have access to such sophisticated solutions. So as she is here, maybe if you're interested, they're thinking right now, they're doing the implementation, but at the end of the day, they want to do some trials with different schools, etc. So if you're interested, maybe she could show her hand, and you could talk to her at the end of the session, because I think she's very interested in knowing about school needs or university needs that could be interested in using this type of technology that is being implemented at this point. Okay? Show your hand anyway, Vanessa. Perfect. Okay, and now I'm going to let the time also to Fundación. Fundación Telefónica have the most beautiful part of what Telefónica has to do, which is providing a service to society in order to innovate in education, using ICT, promoting their use in classroom with the purpose of accelerating their educational use in the teaching and learning process, contributing to increasing educational quality and promoting equal opportunities. Well, that is a beautiful mission to have. So they're doing a whole lot of things, and they've been doing things for the last more than 10 years also. So probably you know them much more than what the rest of Telefónica does. But in any case, there's a specific case that Claudia from Colombia is going to explain to you that I think will give a concrete case of the things that Telefónica is doing over Latin America around education and ICT. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Carolina. We have some time for questions now. Are there any questions or comments?
I was thinking I have bored you so much that there was going to be 0 questions, but I'm used to it, don't worry.
You said you prepare contents for different countries, different clients, employees, and you have them translated later. I would like to know if there are some results, research done and results on if they were localized pedagogically wise, if they had any profile, if you took into account different profiles for people in Latin America, the children, for example, and the children in Czech Republic.
And the type of products that we've been localizing in the different countries are the one for the employees of Telefónica. It's not for kids. So the experience that we do have now, I'll go to that point, etc. But it's clear that we don't only translate, we localize. And we have local people from the country transforming the content and adapting it to make sure that there's not specific things that can be shocking or whatever. For example, we had the experience of using in Spain courses from SmartForce, the American company, and they resulted shocking. The syndicates here in Spain, they got very cross because some of the things that were said were politically incorrect for here in Spain. And in the US, they were absolutely normal. So it's clear that you need to have it localized, but it's not the same as for the kids. In the project Aula 365, in which initially the content is from Argentina, there what we did, and we had to transform it for Spain, here what we did is have a team of teachers adapting completely the content to the specific needs to the curriculum and to the mentality of the Spanish kids. And that was done by pedagogues. Normally, the translation is not done by translators. It's done by pedagogues of the content of the local country, basically.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. That was fascinating. But when you started, you talked about definition, and the one that worried me, or that I didn't catch, was a distinction between training and learning and education, and maybe gradations within learning, which might be formal or informal. Yeah.
Well, that's what worries me when we talk about these type of words. There are so many things that are included. It's quite difficult to actually implement. It's clear that when we're talking about the employees of Telefónica, we're talking about training.
Yeah.
And we have launched a specific area around education because we understand that the vocabulary and the needs are completely different in the corporate training segment and the educational segment, which have absolutely nothing to do. Compared to what you were saying about informal and formal, that's a process in which we're we're living through at this moment, because we're moving from the fixed the LMS model, in which it was absolutely mandatory, organized, and we're starting to understand that employees and people want other things. So how can you integrate this to the other model? So what we're doing right now, as far as the platform, is the idea is to open and transform it into a more modular solution in which you can have the informal part. So if you want to have your personal learning environment with all the different inputs from the different blogs or whatever tools that are available in the net already, in a common space, make it easy for the person to have it, because he's going to go for it anyway. So have it there. But also, there still be some mandatory training that will need to be done, even if he wants or not. I mean, it's something that will have to be done because he's part of the company and those are the rules. So try to put it in a unique space for them to feel comfortable with the process. But it's clear that it's a mental discussion that we're going through in all the HR departments, because not everybody has the same vision. I mean, they're the most open ones. Give them everything, and they're smart enough and intelligent enough to go and take it with intelligence. Others are more like, no, I want it organized, etc. So it's the idea here is, what the feeling I have is that the tendency will be to give the options, because you don't have any choice anyway. So make it easy for them and have them have a good learning experience in this environment, basically. I don't know if I answered properly your question, which was very complicated, actually.
No, you've unpacked it. Thank you.
Okay.
Some more questions?
I have a question which might be not directly to you,
Okay,
but this is the only chance when we have to address our questions about technology itself, although it's not our kind of focus point, but we should not deny that it impacts our performance as pedagogues, as educators, so much that we just cannot skip our questions to technologists. And in this sense, since Telefónica is so nicely presented here with the people from different areas, maybe if not Carolina, then someone else could answer a question. We can read in the Washington Times and New York Times in the mid of September about newest Google Android cell phone, which contains, as they say, unexpected feature, a malicious rootkit, which means that finally, when the T-Mobile store started selling this telephone, so they, the so-called G2, an Android-based smartphone, originally slated for beginning of October, and all the fans were already standing lines and so on, and they bought it, and then they had a surprise. So they found out that the G2 also comes with a built-in hardware that restricts what software a device owner might wish to install. Concretely speaking, if you uploaded your own content there, and imagine this is an open resource, open educational resource. So a little bit later, you discover that telephone automatically wipes it out and reinstalls originally native company software. So yesterday when I think it was Dolores Rach who was talking us about how it's technology that will change the world, not the ideology. There was so much kind of faith and confidence that technology will resolve our things. My fear is that technology will dominate too much and soon we will not be able to control the technology. And I think this new Android phone is one of the kind of signs of it. This was one question, and the second is the following one. Yeah, and the second one is the following one. It's about the space in the sky. In the high technology always has been dreaming that the white space, which is unused broadband space, which had been controlled by the United States. I know they have a special Federal Communications Commission. I don't know how our European space is controlled and kind of regulated. But anyways, I believe that there will be white spots which had been unused now, will be released again, which will make possible that huge amounts and new innovation about how to use this. So it always has been that this kind of releasing these unused white spots provided the whole flow of incredible innovation how to use this space. So it relates to our specific area. Do you think that it can be a new kind of leapfrogging in the use of the space for the pedagogues, for the schools, less limitation and so on? So Telefónica people, if you know something
Vanessa,
about
do you know
this.
how to understand?
I was yesterday trying to say that there is a lot of confusing messages. For example, like a year ago, they started to talk about the limited capacity of the space and that it's so saturated that mobile networks will crash. So then somehow, almost a year later, I read this, that there is a huge amount of unused white space. So what about this? Is it really that we have some issue in the capacity of the mobile network and or we should not just be worried about?
Okay, well, I'll try to answer the second one. The worry of the operators basically is that the amount of data going through the broadbands is increasingly exponentially. But the market, as far as is what is willing to pay, is moving into a flat fee model. So here, clearly, the operators are spending hundreds of millions of euros in actually incrementing the possibility of the broadband. And they're going to continue doing so. What they're not so happy about is that the only organization that actually are getting the money out of all this increase of broadband use are others, are the Google of the world or whatever. So what they want is to and they're not spending anything in infrastructure, the guys from Google. So what they're actually thinking is, how can we reorganize the world in order to share the cost and the expenses of actually providing the internet broadband needed for everything that is going to come. I'm not worried about the possibility. I mean, they have the capacity and they're going to continue putting all the broadband that is being needed. So I don't believe it's going to collapse. The only thing is that they want to negotiate with the ones that actually are promoting all this use of broadband and data moving around the world, to share a little bit the expenses and the benefits from doing so. Basically, that's the negotiation that is being done. So I don't know if this answers your question. That's where Cesar Alierta actually launched a sentence of why don't we share the benefits with Google, etc. So they're a bit worried about, and it's the same problem that have all the operators, because they spend, I mean, Telefónica is the first CapEx aportador, investor of Latin America. I mean, so they're spending hundreds of millions of euros in providing the infrastructures through satellites, through whatever is needed to actually give what people are asking for. So that you shouldn't worry about. What they want to do is see how they can actually organize, because it's clear that, and for example, you have the case of O2, in which they've started seeing the people that were the really, really heavy users that are actually collapsing the networks, how they should, if you really want to be a very heavy user, you should pay a little bit more than somebody that just does a normal use of the technology. So really redefine the models to be able to provide a good service, because from another news that actually went a few months ago was that New York was saturated. They couldn't sell any more iPhones because it was collapsed. It's clear that the iPhone is a device that uses a whole lot of broadband, so you have to be able to be prepared for that. But I mean, the operators are ready and will be doing so. The thing is how they define the models in which they don't lose money, basically. And from the first part, that is, I don't know if Vanessa has more information or more things to say than me. And I believe that at the end of, everybody is talking about open. So, and the companies that try to have a closed vision and really try to limit the possibilities won't work at the end. So maybe it's something they're trying to do, but right now the society and the end user are so powerful that I don't know if they have actually the strength of implementing such a thing, because they will have lots of people saying they're not willing to accept that type of thing. So I wouldn't be too worried either. Even, I mean, everybody tries to do a little step, and after they go a little bit back because they see that the reception that they had from the population has been terrible for that type of thing. I don't know if Vanessa has much more information that I have about.
Was your question, were you worried about the Android platform not being open anymore? Was that your question? Okay.
Going into the open education more and more.
Yeah.
And if technology providers or designers are going to make it kind of tricky,
But they won't let them do that.
Yeah, but I mean, I totally agree with you. Telefónica doesn't do platforms anyway, but we totally agree with the open philosophy. So I mean, I think that the future of mobile platforms is going to be open, either completely open source operating systems, or offering all sorts of APIs so that external developers can contribute towards new applications. So I think that Telefónica as a whole, I mean, in general, we support this type of philosophy, and I don't think that at any point we will contribute towards a closed platform at all. And I think that even most in an educational environment, everything should be open to explore and enhance whatever is out there. So, but again, we don't do platforms, so that would be Google's decision, or Nokia's decision, or any other company.
Maybe not about the platform, but what about the contents? You said that you have thousands of contents. Are you planning maybe in the near future to open them and then allowing all the community to access such resources, or they are maybe one of your capital or your assets, and then it's not possible?
Well, it depends on the cases, because when it's a client that asks you to implement a course, for them, they have the ownership of the product, so they do what they want with it. And in the case of the Telefónica employees, when it's something very specific to internal needs, we're not going to give it outside. It's clear. When you go to the educational world, well, it depends who pays for it. For example, when the government has asked us to develop specific courses, the mentality was open for everybody afterwards. So in our case, as a business, we do it depending on the needs and the objective of each of the clients, basically. we haven't got the possibility or the freedom of actually deciding that the content that has been developed for Correos is open for everybody. That's not something not the way it's working. But as I tell you, that goes more to corporate training, which is where we have more focus. In the educational field, for example, Red.es, they developed, I don't know, it was about a 10 million euro project of content that is available in the net for everybody. So that was the mentality, and we did the development, but it was going to be for everybody in any case. So it depends of each case, basically. And right now we're doing another project with the Avanza projects also. That the mentality is you do the content, but then it's going to be available for everybody. So that's a bit depends on the cases, basically.
And also I am at Telefónica Foundation. From Telefónica Foundation, everything we do is open and free and for everybody.
Oh, yes,
we
sorry.
have EducaRed, which is a portal for the educative community schools, principally. And we have there thousands of content services we offer to teachers, teenagers, and families. And everything is free. Like through Telefónica Foundation is where we give and contribute to the educational system in all the countries we are present.
Of course, I understand that if you have a contract with one of your clients that specifies if the resources are going to be open or not, you need to satisfy that. But I'm thinking, for example, you know that we are in a very serious crisis. There is a lot of unemployment, so maybe it's in your hands to allow a lot of people to access very good resources, because I'm sure that if you have been spending a lot of money in such resources, they are really probably good. And you said in your presentation that you use mobile learning for pre and post courses. Maybe you should try, well, you should. I mean, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but
no,
maybe you should consider about opening part of these materials as a way of forming or training people that maybe they will be future employees of you. So in a sense, I don't know, I mean, it's an opportunity. I see it as an opportunity.
Well,
Telefónica Foundation with Telefónica Learning Services are now actually giving some open courses for unemployed persons, teachers, principally. And we are doing that through the labor, ¿cómo se dice sindicatos? Labor unions. We are contacting their unemployed teachers, and they are subscribing to these courses. So we are doing that already because we thought it was the moment to do something for those persons.
okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much for this interesting and passionate